Ninja.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Caffeine and Sensu Beans podcast. I am One Kick Man, joined by Chiween. Chiween, how are you doing, dude?
I am doing pretty good, man. Just it was a day full of soccer. Right now, I just came back from the store because I needed our shower head broke. But uh, but other than that, it's been a pretty good day. Some good soccer games going on. Got the best team in the world playing right now. So
Crazy, the main
this is
event, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is a pretty big event that's playing right now. So it's El Salvador versus Guatemala,
Oh,
and
dude, that's crazy. That's like your heritage right there, in on the field, right?
on the field. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's quite the gift. It's quite a
Yeah,
it's
quite a
quite a
treat.
show. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I couldn't have asked for a better treat.
Who do you root for in these type of scenarios?
El Salvador.
Oh, really?
Yeah, la selecta.
Damn. Hey, you know what though? My dad showed me jerseys, their jerseys. I don't know if it's like a fake or it was an alternate color. They looked really nice.
The black one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
dude.
their alternative one.
That
Yeah, that one's
one's
pretty tight.
tight.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
tight. The black and gold one.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure he's not
I,
watching it
they
right
don't look
now.
bad though. They don't look as horrible as they've done in the past. At least I don't think so. But then again, they're also playing against like the Choriceros together.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't know how much of a real test that is. But yeah, they don't look as horrible as they've looked in the past. Guatemala, though, on the other hand, they look pretty bad.
Dude, El Salvador, like, I feel like El Salvador and Guatemala were always kind of neck and neck, but Guatemala was just a little bit better. Like they
Uh-huh.
had better players. But
Mhm.
now I feel like Guatemala's fallen into some abyss. Like I know El Salvador has, but Guatemala, like I haven't heard of them in forever, like their national team, you know. I don't
Yeah.
know if they're like
Well, they
how they're
went through a scandal,
doing.
if I'm not mistaken. They just went through like a scandal through the FIFA. I mean, just as El Salvador got, like, how ridiculous is the scandal El Salvador got caught in the soccer world? And if you don't know anything about
The one where they
Central
were
American soccer, like,
it's corrupt
just
as
know
shit.
that every team in Central America is pretty much just
Garbage, yeah.
yeah, we're not at the level where we need to be, but it's okay. But yeah,
It's
like I think they've both been through scandals, but Guatemala recently just went through a scandal.
oh
I
shoot.
forget why they were gonna get like kicked out of FIFA or something along the lines of that, and then something happened to bring them back. Like
Right.
right now, they're not even supposed to be in this tournament, but because the other team,
Curaçao got tested
yeah,
positive for
Curacao
COVID.
had
That's
COVID,
crazy,
like they're just
bro.
like, well, let's bring in the boys.
Yeah, that's crazy. Um, yeah, I know, dude. It's just I don't know. Oh man. But you know what though? Yeah, we can get into the whole like national team, like the soccer over there and like where it needs help, but it's rough right now. It's rough.
Yeah, it's a whole podcast within itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole conversation within
Yeah,
itself.
it would
The
really need its
the
own
the, sta- the
podcast.
status of Central American soccer is just
Yeah.
it,
That
it-
would
it's
be
a,
the
it's a topic within
podcast right
itself.
there.
Yeah. How are
Yeah.
you?
Doing good. Let's see. I told you I was looking for a gaming PC, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, dude, like every time I like Google one of them, I'm super
Uh-huh.
tempted to buy one, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it because, like, let's be honest, dude, I'm not using the full power of it right
Uh-huh.
now, but in the future, maybe. So that may be a future purchase. Uh, and then I watched the Copa America final yesterday. Thought the game was pretty garbage, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you watch
Yeah.
it?
I mean, we were having our meeting at that time, and
That's
I
right.
was under the impression that it was today.
You thought
So
they
I
say, yeah,
Yeah, I was under the impression that it was today, and so I didn't watch the game. I watched like the last 10 minutes, and it was you know, I mean, we were talking about it yesterday a little bit, but I mean, the Argentina players, dude. I mean, bless their hearts are, but like, come on, man. Like, some of the ridiculousness in regards to like fouls and stuff. Like, they were acting like they got sniped.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
it
That's
was
what
like a little touch, dude, and they were just rolling on the ground, like like
crazy,
the whole
dude.
field.
Nuts, man. Yeah, like I hate that about the sport in general now, dude. It's gotten super soft, bro. Like just bounty soft, bro.
Yeah,
Um,
they don't like to stand. They don't like to stand the fouls. I mean, it's hard. They've I mean, the sport itself has kind of gotten a little bit more like I don't want to say lenient on it, but like there's just some like the England game where like they gave them the penalty. Like
dude, that was not a penalty.
that wasn't a penalty, dog. Like let's quit
Oh,
lying to
yeah,
ourselves
that was
that
not a
that was a
penalty, bro.
penalty. I mean, I don't know, man. The new breed of soccer players, like that's kind of what their thing is to an extent.
Right? Right?
Not every soccer player, not every new
Yeah,
player,
not
but
every
like
yeah.
some of the bigger ones, like I would say Neymar is like I think a
He's a
big
huge
culprit in
culprit.
that.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
you know.
Which is unfortunate because he is really good, but um like his theatrics overshadow his talent at times.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Like it's like, dude, I don't really mind him crying. Like I don't think that that's bad, but like for a part of me is just like, dog, are you faking this? Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like like it almost feels like
forced.
disingenuous. Yeah, like it almost feels disingenuous. Even when they lost with PSG, like it's just that's just like his pattern. Like he kind of just disappears in the last game,
He
and then he
does, huh?
cries, and it's like, and then like, dude, no, dude,
No.
you're relying
Why?
on freaking Richarlison to do something.
Jesus
Is this
Christ,
for our
dude.
Brazilian fans? Because you know what, we actually have a lot of listeners in Brazil, so
Okay.
they might know what we're
Eu
talking
amo o
about here.
Brasil. Eu gosto
Oh
muito
my
da
God,
cultura
Lucho.
brasileira. No, I really do like Brazil though.
Yeah, I
But
mean that's our favorite soccer team. That's our
that
favorite
was
team.
dude with Ronaldo Nazario.
Yeah,
Fuck, that was my guy, dude. He was the reason I started watching the sport. Like, and not. He's not the reason I started watching the sport, but when I was a little kid,
uh-huh.
I would watch professional soccer because my dad would watch the Mexican league, and I'd be like, dude, no one can dribble through the players here, and
Yeah,
and that would frustrate me because you do that in recess all the time, and like
yeah. Well,
in
that's what you
AYSL.
do. That's how you like to play.
Yeah, right.
That's what you do.
Well, I would watch like professional soccer and be like, dude, that's not no fun. I don't want to play in that, because
Yeah.
like no one can dribble through defenders. And then I saw Ronaldo in the '98 World Cup, and it was like
Uh-huh.
he was doing everything that you do in recess, or like that type of player would do in
Mhm.
recess. And yeah, it was from there, dude. That was my guy. That was my guy. But yeah, man, no. But go back to the game. That game was not fun, dude. Now, you didn't miss anything. You did not miss anything.
Yeah, it didn't look like it. Yeah, it didn't really look like it. I mean,
Yeah.
Argentina I think is a better team right now than Brazil. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Brazil I think Brazil thinks that it's better than what it is.
I think
Um
Brazil has the better
because of
players. But I
mhm.
think the team, in terms of putting it together, I think Argentina has put together solid performances. Like they know what they got to do and they go out and do it, like,
Mhm.
because,
Yeah, like the fact that Otamendi's like leading the line back there,
oh
like,
my God.
come on, guys.
Come
Come
on,
on,
bro.
man.
And
Then my
Brazil
boy
has
Thiago
Thiago Silva,
Ronaldo, dog.
Marquinhos.
Yeah, dog, but Thiago's done, dude.
No,
It's
dude,
time to
he
move
played
on,
hella
dog.
good for Chelsea this
Get that man
season.
off the field, dog. This
Dude.
man, he's about to get injured throwing like a hip out. Dude, it's done, dog. Like,
Hey.
let's get some other beasts in there, dude. Like
Shit,
it's
that's
time, dog. Like Danilo's out there doing his
oh
thing.
fuck. You know who
Dude,
though? Militao, bro.
yeah,
Militao.
that's the boy.
That's the boy. He's coming up.
That's the
He
boy.
is coming up, dude. And he's 22. Yup. No, 23. Shit, 23. Whatever. That's my guy right there. He's
Yeah,
got
that's the
he's
boy.
got a forehead on him, dude. That is a weapon. If you seen that thing is a weapon. Um, but yeah, no, game was trash. So I watched that game. I watched like the UFC event last night,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
didn't the dude like break his ankle?
yeah,
Or
like it snapped in half.
Lord. See,
I mean, it's a
I can't
vicious
watch shit
sport.
like that, dude. Yeah, I just can't watch
Like it's
that shit, dude.
ridiculous.
Like it's just like it's just
It's
like that.
ridiculous.
Like, what is that,
Yeah,
dude? Like
yeah.
people literally just watch somebody get traumatized, like right. Like, and that's the thing about that sport, dude, is like sometimes they look like they were just fucking dead. Like I always say, I don't think I could ever be like, I don't know how I would be if I was like a family member of somebody that was like
Yeah,
like
nice.
if my son
Yeah,
decided to become a UFC fighter, I don't know if I could like I don't know if I
watch.
could watch that, dude.
No, I
Like
know. Yeah,
it's too
no.
barbaric, man.
Um, it is. I'm sure it's tough for the family, dude. Like even if they win, they always say like every fight takes a little bit out of you. And I did
It's like,
taekwondo.
yeah, dude, like the dude can't even like go play with his children now because he has a broken foot.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Like that
it's
boy broke his ankle, dude.
yeah, and yeah, exactly. No, it's nasty. And I mean, sometimes it's like it's a vicious sport. Like there's no doubt about it. Sometimes it's concussions, sometimes it's like broken nose is whatever, kind of, like within the like
Within the context of the sport, yeah.
right, exactly. Like
It's one of the small. It's
right,
crazy that that's one of the smaller injuries.
right. Like
Yeah.
no one has a good looking nose in that sport if you see, because that's been destroyed. Um, broken jaws, like yeah, dude, it is a vicious sport. And yeah, I mean, if I was a family member of these guys, it'd be difficult. I'm sure our boy doesn't practice MMA though.
Or our resident guest, the
Yeah,
Silb.
the Silv, dude.
Yeah.
He actually was supposed to have a fight, but he got injured recently. I don't know if you know what happened. I'm sure he won't mind me telling the story, but he got into a fight. Um,
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
he showed up to the baptism like beat up, dude. Like, and I'm like, what the hell happened to you, dude? His like nose was busted up. He was like, no, I got into a fight. And I said, where? And apparently
Where could you possibly get into a fight?
he got into a fight at a Papi football game with the other
Oh my
team.
god.
With the other team. Dude, he said one of the dudes pulled out a knife on him. Like,
Of course. That part of the story doesn't surprise me that like
yeah.
that's included in there.
He said it was all 11 too. And
All
then
I
he
need
said
to hear in this
the
story is
coach,
the only thing that I need to hear in the story is how many he was taking on.
all
I
of them.
guarantee you it wasn't one. It was
No, it was
all
all of
11
yeah.
on the field plus the subs, and he was just
Yeah. No, literally, dude.
by himself.
He literally, dude, he said, I mean, when he comes on again, he'll be able to relate the story a lot better. But he said it was like him versus a starting 11, and the bench decided to join in on the ride, and he was giving out free rides all day, he said. And then the coach even got in on it, knocked his ass out too.
And the referee got
Yeah,
in
the
there
ref,
too. It's just like,
then his
dude,
own team.
okay,
No, no,
dude.
no.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, but that boy self.
Yeah.
Shit. Anyways, we're here to talk about Dragon Ball.
Yes, we are.
Okay. And we figured today would be a good episode to talk about the Tournament of Power arc.
Yeah.
I feel
Mhm.
that one is the most recent one. I mean, excluding the movies, obviously, but it's the most recent one in the anime. And it was, I know it was one of the most viewed arcs, but not without its flaws. And we would probably argue some major flaws.
Mhm.
So, right off the rip, like, how did you feel about that arc?
So, so, so I was just recently watching a Totally Mark like review of the whole thing,
Hmm.
and I don't want to like misquote him, but kind of going through it again, like I think there are pockets in that arc that I think really, I think showed the capability of the show. So I think to me, I think it's probably like one of the strongest arcs in Super, if not the strongest, in regards to, I mean, I think animation, I
Oh
think
yeah.
story wise, I think in there you have some pieces of really strong stories.
Hmm.
I think what hurt the arc, in my personal opinion, is that there's so many characters to care for
Mm.
that so many of them just get kind of lost in the they get lost in the sauce. Like everybody
Right.
kind of, they try to give everyone like a little bit of the pie, and within that, like it kind of diminishes it. It kind of diminishes the quality because you're trying to extend it to so many. So that's kind of my interpretation
Hmm.
of the arc.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I mean, you have some really cool moments in there.
Yeah, you do. So, um, I am conflicted because this was. mm, I watched it obviously when it was airing, and
Hmm.
there definitely were some moments. I feel like as the arc progressed, it it picked up. Uh, there
Oh
were
yeah.
some there were some nice little things that they did there, and they threw in like a little Easter egg. Not so much an Easter egg. I'd like to say it was more of a little homage. Um,
Hmm.
so
There's
if
quite
you
a few.
Okay, okay, but the one that really stood out to me that I think maybe at the time resonated with me the most, um, and I don't know if you know about this one, but it was the Bulma one. And so the Bulma voice actress, she actually
Hmm.
died, uh, uh, like around the time that it was being filmed, like or recorded.
Yeah.
And so I think it was like the original Bulma voice actress. And when
Hmm.
Vegeta's, and this is, obviously we're gonna have spoilers on here. Um, but when Vegeta's
Yeah.
fighting Jiren, and uh
Hmm.
he's essentially losing, and he accepts that he's going to be knocked out of the tournament, and he is kind of falling back. He's beat up, his clothes, his attire's all ripped up, and he's falling out of the stage, and it flashes to Bulma, and he
Hmm.
starts crying. I thought that was a nice little touch, because other dudes that got um kicked off the stage, dudes that lost during the tournament, you know, they took it like whatever. When Gohan lost, right?
Yeah.
He was just kind of like, yeah, all right, whatever. Now I'm here on the bench.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really cool. So that type of thing there, I really enjoyed. Um, and then some of the animation was really good in terms of Dragon Ball Super.
Hmm.
That was the best animation, I think. Um, but like you said, they have way too many characters because they have too many universes, and it makes it difficult to start caring about these different characters, and we can get into some of them. Let's say Jiren little later.
Yeah.
Uh, but I know that he was like a big focal point in the arc. There's a lot of mystery around him.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's debatable whether he was actually a focal point, but yeah, I
well,
might, I might argue against that he's a focal point, but
y-
yeah,
okay, so we'll cross that bridge.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, there being too many characters, not being able to hone in on the struggles of any real fighter or challenger, I think made it feel more just like I don't know. It just felt like they were fighting, and the cool things about the arc were either little tidbits like I just talked about, and or the animation and like the transformations and that, you know. But
yeah,
I felt like it lacked a little bit of substance, or maybe a good amount of substance. Um,
Yeah,
But
a little bit of direction. I think a little bit of direction, a little bit of stakes, because the
mm-hmm.
stakes. I mean, so this is what I'll say, right? The stakes I think are pretty high, and I'll say that the stakes are
They
high
are
because they're gonna get erased. They're gonna
correct.
be done so. But I think what is important about stakes is that yes, there's an overarching meta stake, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
also the stake that is on a micro level, right? Where it's like where you're actually fighting. And I think that that is kind of what kind of hurt some of these pieces was the fact that there were so many different types of fighters that sometimes it felt hard to believe that they were actually gonna be able to overcome Universe 7. And maybe that's, and obviously it's because Universe 7 is like the main
Mm-hmm.
the
That's the
main,
main
it's the
one,
main, it's the main cast. So
right?
it makes sense that, we would feel that way. But never did I really ever feel like that they were like in super grave danger. If anything, I would have wanted the Jiren universe to have like a much more of a presence within the arc, because the arc is so long. It's like, man, I forget. It's like almost like 40 episodes. It's pretty long.
Actually, I googled how long the arc was, and it said about 130 episodes.
Nah, I think that's the entirety of the show.
Oh yeah, no, I think you may be right. You may be right.
Yeah, that's the
You may be
entirety
right.
of the show. No, like the arc starts around like 94, 95. And it could even be argued that it even starts even earlier than that when they're recruiting
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
the
Anime
people, right?
episode.
Like they're recruiting Frieza and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like it's the stakes didn't feel high when they were fighting the lower level folks. And that's not to say that, Krillin needs to be fighting Dispo or anything like that.
Right.
But I think they're because I think there's so many different things going on that it really made it hard to juggle an antagonist in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um in the juggling of the antagonist was hard. I think they kind of put themselves in a hard spot because you wanted to highlight all these different characters that we've been introduced, like, and I mean, fuck. Now that I'm saying it out loud, there's so much shit happening in this arc because there was
There's
the
a
moment
lot.
with Master Roshi when he was gonna die, and then
Mm-hmm.
Goku had like that moment with him,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
moment with Piccolo and Gohan,
Mm-hmm.
that moment with Vegeta and Bulma.
Mm-hmm.
There's the moment with like Khalifa and
Mm-hmm.
Goku, Kaba. Like, there's so many. Like, fuck. How many are those already? Like, there's so many.
Like too many that it works in against its, what it's trying to do.
Yeah, like there's so many. I don't even want to call them side stories because I don't even know if they're side stories because many of them are just like an episode or two.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that the Master Roshi one was like one episode,
Yeah, it
and it
was.
was nice, um, but kind of like the payoff. I feel like it wasn't that like satisfactory. Even though it was a nice moment, it wasn't that satisfactory, or the follow up wasn't that strong, right? Like I think about the Piccolo one, and Piccolo, it was a cool moment about like where he kind of realizes that Gohan is now grown up and
Mm-hmm.
can defend himself, which is a cool moment, but like he gets eliminated in like a shitty way, like
Mm-hmm.
Piccolo does.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like doesn't, it's been so long since I watched the arc, but correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Gohan? He's fighting. Shoot, is it? It's not Dispo. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank. I can't believe it. I know who it is. It's the dude with the big ass hands.
With the mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget his name.
Fuck, I
Is
can't believe.
Dispo, Jiren, and
I know he
the
does
big
the
guy.
Justice Flash, but whatever.
That's the
Um,
boy though. I like him.
yeah. And doesn't he like grab him from behind? And
I
then
don't know, dude. I forget, but
he
all I know is
sacrifice.
that like,
Oh no, Gohan is the one who sacrifices himself to
yeah,
get him kicked out. Yeah, kicked off.
because
Right.
it's the reverse. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
callback to the Saiyan saga. It's like it's like where Piccolo or not the same, or like where
Oh, okay.
Piccolo did the same exact thing for Gohan
Right.
and like to save him. So it's a
Right.
callback. And it's a nice callback. That's
Yeah,
nice.
okay. Yeah,
It's
that's
nice
cool.
to see it, and it's nice to see
Mhm.
that you get to see some progression. I mean, it's a cool moment to look back of like, oh wow, like it cements Gohan as like he's his own person now,
Mhm.
and that Piccolo now can trust his mentee, which is
Mhm.
cool. It's cool. It's cool to get that. Um, but then the following piece is Piccolo gets
Popo.
eliminated
Mhm.
like nothing.
Yeah. I know. So then you feel like, well, that was somewhat pointless. That sacrifice was uh it, it really wasn't pointless, but because Piccolo was eliminated so easily, so quickly,
Yeah.
it felt like, you know, um it almost kind of was a little pointless. And I I felt like I definitely feel there were peaks. Um but there there was I just felt like you said it was a little all over the place. Um
Mm-hmm.
No, one of the big kind of fights that I remember people were like hyped for was when Hit was gonna fight Jiren.
Yeah.
And um and I felt like it kind of lived up to the billing a little bit. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I actually that was one that I personally enjoyed. But
Mm-hmm.
then there were some that like I don't know, like I didn't really understand. I didn't understand Rib Rian, right? Like she was just a little too I didn't understand her character. Um uh I thought like I don't even remember who Krillin fought. I know he gets eliminated super early.
Yeah, he
Um
gets eliminated super early. I forget who he fights too, but I know that within that little fighting though, he's kicking some ass for a little bit. So that
for
was nice to
for a
see. He
little
doesn't
bit,
get
yeah.
manhandled, and then he just kind of gets knocked out pretty easily though.
Yeah, and so there were fights. I think definitely I liked Vegeta's fight versus Jiren.
Mhm.
The thing is though, I did like it. Um, but it was a little predictable in the sense that we knew Vegeta wasn't going to win. Like,
Mhm.
um, there were a lot of great things there. There's that moment where he does a final flash, and like you said, this I think was another callback to when Vegeta fought Cell
Mhm.
and he did the final flash against Cell.
Yeah.
Um, well, he does this one against Jiren, right? And he's a typical Vegeta bravado, right? Like you can tell his pride's been damaged, and uh he's gonna go out on his sword, right? Like he's just
Yeah.
he's if he's gonna lose swinging. And so he blasts Jiren with the final flash. Like, yeah, for a second it looks like he might do damage, but in the back of your mind, you know, Goku hasn't fought Jiren a second time. Like he hasn't activated Ultra Instinct. There's no way Jiren's gonna lose this.
Yeah.
So that's like when it gets into that territory of you already know what's going to happen, even though it's a new episode.
And even though it looks cool,
Yeah, like it just doesn't resonate the way it should. Because if on face value, it has the ingredients to, but because we've seen this play out far too often, like it just doesn't. It's like, oh, okay, like this looks cool, but Vegeta, we know what's gonna happen, and it's
yeah.
just, yeah, it just, I don't know. It, like you said, the stakes don't feel high enough because, I mean, we'll get into like what some of the wishes were gonna be and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
like 17's wish and um the fact that we'll get into that, but uh it felt like the stakes were high, I guess, in the sense that the universes would get um erased,
Mhm.
but I think like the issue is as a viewer, we don't necessarily get attached to a universe per se or
Mm,
a giant community or something like we get attached to individual characters, right?
mhm,
And so if they would have maybe trimmed the fat a little bit, the amount of characters, and focus on if the character loses, he dies, you know, like
mhm,
he's gone. That's a much more morbid, like feel. Like it feels more sinister. It's like you'll be a little on more on edge, you know. And
mhm.
I feel like that could have helped the story a little bit. But yeah, like you said, the stakes they tried to make it high, but it was a little kind of typical of Dragon Ball, like I'm gonna blow up the world and or I'm
Mhm.
gonna destroy the universe.
Yeah.
Um, and either we've become so desensitized to it that it just doesn't really resonate with us, or it just is never really going to resonate with us because who we care about is the characters, the Vegeta, the Goku, the Krillin, the Gohan, right? Like those characters. And if one of them were to die, you know, we've talked about it before, like when future Gohan died in the Trunks special. That
Yeah.
was, you know, that's an emotional scene, you know, like that one, you know, like it actually resonates with the viewer, I think. So that's kind of how I felt on the stakes part, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they tried to do that though, so I don't want to discredit them that they didn't do that because they did. Like Master Roshi, that's the first example I
Yeah.
think of like, that's him saying before if I'm gonna die, this is what I want to do, right? And then like
Hmm.
this is where you get the callbacks, all the stuff. Piccolo, same thing with Gohan, right? Like it's just like they do play with that idea of being dead. So like
Hmm.
they do play with it, but there's just something about the whole feeling of it, and it might be because it's a tournament that it creates this like environment where like it's not necessarily so much of a story that revolves around the tournament. It I feel like something is just missing there from me
It
in
almost
regards to there's a
gamifies
disconnect there.
the okay.
And maybe it is just like we don't see them in the sidelines, right? Because like that would be I think something else, right? Of like, well, Krillin's out, but he's on the sidelines, so we see him, he's still
Mhm.
alive.
Right, right,
So
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? So it's just like
They're still
that. I
there.
think, yeah, that takes away from I think the weight of the loss. You know?
Exactly. Right. You don't really feel the void because you're still gonna see the character, and it it is a tournament, and the tournament arc is one that Dragon Ball really likes. Other anime have used it also, but it's mm, it teeters between like being a a game almost a tournament
Mhm.
where if you lose, well, you're like you'll still be like you'll be on the sidelines, like you said, you'll be watching the tournament, and so for the viewer still sees that character, does like you said, doesn't really experience the loss, and then also it you know it's on that very like uh what would you say like it plays with the apocalyptic type of not apocalyptic, sorry, like the kind of like the end, the the grand finale of a series and the not extension, but the end of a universe. And
Mhm.
so um it just I feel like it just has a little bit of a lack of focus. And then the stakes, I feel, yeah, they're just not there, dude. Like I know they try to evoke it, and I know they tried to put it in the series. They literally say the stakes are the universes will be wiped out, but it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like that, you know. And it always feels like Goku is right there, and he's gonna get us out of this rut, you know. Like he's
Mhm.
gonna be the dude to save the day, and that to a degree can be okay because listen, he's the main character. But I don't know, it there was just something about the way it was handled that I just uh, it didn't make me feel like you said, like we were on the verge of losing something, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's because in the midst of all the like, it's because in the midst of losing everything, the series is also trying to tie up all these different other storylines that it started.
yeah,
So it's kind of just like a big jumble, you know. It reminds me of the Majin Buu saga a little bit, where they're just
a
trying
little
to
bit.
tie up all these different things. And, you know, we even get the Vegeta sacrifice in this too. So it's just,
Mhm.
you know, they try to redo it again.
Yep.
But you know, you know, the more we get into it, the more I'm realizing, you know, it's just a lot of shitty parts about it. But did you have a favorite part in this arc?
Did I have a favorite part? I mean, I did. There were definitely moments I enjoyed. I'm obviously a Goku fanboy, so
Yeah.
when he turned Ultra Instinct, um, I really enjoyed that part. I enjoyed the Master Roshi one, the one where, you know, he if you could see it was affecting Goku, the fact that Master Roshi felt like he was on his deathbed essentially.
Uh-huh.
Um, uh, if I had to pick one, man, I really like that Vegeta Bulma one. Um, if I had to pick one, mm, uh, I mean, this is super like uh I don't know if the word's cookie cutter, but it's basic, I guess. But it is when Goku goes, you know, Master Ultra Instinct,
Mhm.
and and you know, he like catches Jiren's attack and he disintegrates it,
Yeah.
and then Jiren tries to hit him, and he just dodges it and hits him with a doo doo doo, and he just like fucks Jiren up. Like that was probably my favorite part of the series, and I love the animation, dude. Like I thought I know because I was at the time there was a YouTuber. I mean, I'm sure he's still around, but he would talk about the animation of
Mhm.
Dragon Ball, and he was big into like the actual animation, you know, like that whole animation area. So he knew a lot about the actual animators, and he said he would look at the credits and see who was animating that particular episode, and he would say, "Oh, they brought out the big guns," and
Yeah.
so. Um, that was my favorite. I know it's not like the most emotional invoking, but I thought it was taking Goku obviously to another level. And there's a moment where Goku says, like, I'm not some hero," which I know that was the intention of Dragon Ball from the beginning, not to make Goku be a hero, but just to
Yeah.
be a guy that rolls with his friends. And so he says it right explicitly. I'm not some hero, but if you touch my friends, like that's when I get pissed, something like that. Um, and so yeah, I would say that was my favorite moment. You know, that final Jiren versus Goku battle right before the like final battle with Frieza and 17 and Goku.
Hmm.
How about you?
I would say, I mean, you know, I'm not that big of a Goku person. I think I've grown to like him a little bit better. But I will say, just to add on a little bit to that piece, is that I actually thought it was a really cool transformation, and I thought it was really well done. So I commend them for that, because I think that Super, in many ways, has fast forwarded or kind of expedited
Mm-hmm.
Goku's transformations,
Mm-hmm.
which I think kind of lead to, you know, kind of just superficial
Yeah.
transformations, in my opinion. Um, so this one actually felt like he had to work for it, which was
And
nice.
and not only
It,
that, and sorry to interrupt you, just to add on to that a little bit, he actually, and we don't know this while he's fighting, but he can't be in that form for too long. And there's that
yeah, he
moment,
almost dies. He almost,
right?
like, his body almost can't take it.
And that's when like we says, yes, Goku has reached Ultra Instinct, but he's still immortal. Like he's not a god. So
Mm-hmm.
his body isn't meant to, you know, be a host for that form. And I thought that was something they haven't done with other form transformations, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So just adding on to that. Oof. Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was a cool transformation. It was nice. I think it looks sick too. So
Yeah.
it
Oh
was
yeah.
he just fights different, and I
Demeanor's
thought the
different
way,
too.
yeah, his demeanor is different. He's just it was cool. It was tight. It's probably one of my favorite parts about it. But I think my favorite part of it, I think, is between two. I think it's, and I don't know if it's parts, but I think it's just portrayals. I think like the portrayal of Gohan, I thought I really enjoyed. I thought Gohan kind of stepped it up
Mm-hmm.
from what
Mm-hmm.
we've normally seen him in.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed that. And
Mm-hmm.
then the second one, which I'm leaning towards, this is probably my favorite, is Frieza. I think Frieza's inclusion in the team and in the tournament, I think, is such a dope idea. But that's because I really like Frieza. But his whole like thing into the very last episode is just kind of like he's just shifted so much. And I hope he doesn't become a good guy, but like he goes through so many different transformations, not necessarily like fighting transformations, but I'm talking about just like personal and mental
Mm-hmm.
transformations. Like he still tries to be like sly and like tries to be like sneaky and tries to make like partnerships with freaking Frost, and like
But you
even to the end where he's like trying to like he still doesn't know if he can like trust Goku about what he told him about, so it's just he's so like sneaky, and at the end, he works together with Goku, which was nice. I don't think I mean, I wouldn't have foresaw that,
yeah, I don't think.
from when we saw him in the Namek saga. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's a cool transformation. I just hope he doesn't become like the next Piccolo,
Right.
where they've turned the villain into one of the good guys, and that I hope that doesn't happen. But I would say it's between those two. But I would probably say it's Frieza.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think um what I like about Frieza is that you you never know, and honestly you kind of do know that his intentions are out of his own personal gain.
Yeah.
Um and uh to me that makes it like okay, yeah, but can we really trust Frieza? And you kind of know you really can't. He
Yeah,
was
you can't.
doing it. He was doing it so that Universe 7 wouldn't get wiped out and he wouldn't get wiped out. Um that's but it's enigmatic. Like Frieza doesn't necessarily say that. Um so there is that little gray area of like you said, wait, is he turning into a good guy? I hope not. Um and I'm here on the other side saying, yeah, but you can't really trust Frieza. Like
Yeah.
he's always kind of he's conniving, right? And um even the way he hides out until uh like right until the very end when Goku is about to get um is about to lose to Jiren and he saves Goku. Um he was hiding the whole time. And so was 17 apparently. Oh, wait. That
Yeah.
was a moment I really liked and I wish mm, I liked when 17 sacrificed himself. You
Yeah,
know,
17's the boy, man. I think they did him right in this one.
I think so too. I feel like them bringing him back. I mean, I get it. They wrapped it up with him being the victor. But man, when he sacrificed himself, I don't know if you remember, but he's using the force field and he's
Uh-huh.
protecting like Universe 7 and he's looking back and he's an android. He's never had feelings, like or he's been devoid of emotions for a very long time, even though he has a family now. But he looks back and they're telling him to like get out, to move and like stop it or he's gonna get killed. And he comes to peace with that. He kind of like he accepts it because he says um it's that moment of for once I'm okay with this because I care for these people behind me that I'm protecting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's I think a nice character development right there.
Oh
And
yeah, for sure.
and that was something I really liked. So for sure, the tournament, the arc itself had some moments, you
Oh
know,
yeah, for sure
had some moments. Um, but I think so. I do think Jiren was like, if he wasn't maybe focal point's not the right word, but he was the like end game. He was the Thanos to the arc.
Yeah.
And initially I was intrigued by him. I'm like, damn, this is a bad man. And he is, but uh his character, like, it was way too cookie cutter for me, you know.
Mm.
It was not very creative. Like, he's not even a villain, really. You know, he's not a bad guy. So it
Yeah.
makes me think they're going to he can potentially fall into like that Beerus type of role, right? Where they're super strong, they're not really a bad guy, but they fight Goku. They join the good side and then they just kind of they fall to the backdrop. Like, they're just in the background, they're not doing much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked what I saw from Jiren from like a fighting perspective. Um, but there was just his character just reminded me, like, it just felt way too simple. Like, it didn't feel very creative. Um, and I don't know, it just he didn't end up resonating with me, you know. I know he's popular, but yeah, he didn't really resonate with me.
I would love to have a conversation with somebody that like thinks he's a good character, because I don't understand it. I don't see why people would say that. Like people would find him intriguing at all. Like, you don't know anything of him. Like, there's nothing. They didn't share anything. They had like one episode where they like dedicated like to like an attempt to do a backstory, and it's just
Mhm.
like.
And it was
But again, he's not a bad guy. So
yeah, exactly.
so so it just kind of falls kind of on deaf ears. It's just he is what I said like a couple episodes back of like, this is when the silent character goes wrong. This is the epitome of that, because there's so many times where like he just doesn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are times in the story where like his own teammates are trying to get his attention to talk to him.
Right.
He still doesn't say anything. So like, I don't understand I mean, I understand that like at the end game, yes, it is for Goku to fight this like beast, you know what I'm saying? Like this super strong person, but like, shit, dude, give him something. Give him. I don't know. Give him something, man. Give him like a little talking piece or something. Give him something that will show some charisma or something. Because other than that, it just doesn't work. Like,
Oh yeah,
it just doesn't work. Like, he's just a big brute.
yeah,
He's just like a big brute person, like guy, and it's just not intriguing. At least in my opinion, it wasn't intriguing at all. Like,
well, the thing with me was, yeah, he's struggling in the in the charisma department. But the thing with me was, so his motivation, right? Like, he lost his family, of course. That is tragic. That's traumatic. And it was from then on that he realized he had to get stronger to defend his loved ones and defend himself. But then to me, it felt like it would have been better if the one who killed his like family and his people was Bardock, and Goku is a spitting image of Bardock. And so the reason, because Jiren doesn't even care about the Pride Troopers, you know, he doesn't care about Topo, Dispo, any of them. If Jiren joined this tournament, not even caring about his universe, specifically to defeat Goku,
Yeah.
because Goku, whether he likes it or not, carries the blood of the person. And obviously now I'm going into like a hypothetical, but Goku carries the blood of the person who destroyed his people, like made his life a living hell for a moment, like I felt like, but as it is, it didn't connect with me, like for this to be it, right? This is where the crescendo happens. This is the peak. It's here. It's Goku versus Jiren. It's all adding up to this. Jiren doesn't care to fight Goku. Like
he doesn't care to be there.
No, exactly. And Goku, really, his motivation to fight Jiren at the beginning is simply because Jiren's so strong, right? Like, and that's always his thing, until that one moment where Jiren tries to like, kill his or like destroy his friends. And then Goku, that's when he really like upsets Goku. But yeah, I just felt like that's it. Like, that's the motivation for this character for this particular arc. This is the end of the series. And so it wasn't I don't know, man. I don't know if they're gonna.
He was just missing that, man, in the recipe. I think what would have helped too was like if they would have just chosen a route. They didn't choose a route with him. They should have just made him a bad guy, and then and then he's just a bad guy. And even then, it makes sense why he doesn't want to talk to the troopers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, well, okay, well, yeah, he's the bad guy you guys are fighting against. He's your Frieza. He's your guy that like you can't trust. But at the end of the day, like, the Pride Troopers have to trust him, but it doesn't feel like there's even any animosity. It almost just feels like he just doesn't want to just be there. Like, he doesn't even like, he just doesn't care. Like, I wonder how he is in his universe. Like, he's probably just sleeping all day.
Right, meditating.
Like, he's just doing nothing. Like, well, like, what is he doing? Like, is he like fighting somebody or what? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing there for us to grab onto of like, what exactly do you use this power for? Like, you have all this power and strength. Like, what exactly is it that you use it for?
You're right. And like, and
unless I missed that, unless they say like in the Pride Troop, like, is he like a part of the Pride Troopers or he's like fighting crime or?
I must have missed that. I don't really remember. It's been years, like 3 years and some change since I watched it. But I was watching an anime reviewer, I forget, because he was actually criticizing the Pride Troopers, and he said like the reason why the Pride Troopers could have been like a really cool thing, but he says the thing is what makes these type of teams, if you will, like what makes them work is the fact that you have to see that the characters within that group care about one another. So if one of them dies or if something happens to one of them, it actually affects the other members in that group, as opposed to like if Dispo dies, Jiren's just like whatever, it's like no sweat off my back. And so I think that was a big mistake. They could, and also like they just kind of, who is it, Bergamo, he just kind of says, no, is it Bergamo? No, it's Beerus or Whis. I can't believe I forgot. But they say, oh, there was someone in that universe, there's someone a mortal who can rival the gods of destruction, happens to be Jiren. At least that's what they're insinuating. I'm like, dude, that's huge. Like,
yeah, like this,
you can't just gloss over that. Right? Like, come on, bro. And so they just, that's like that is a story in and of itself, I think. Or it could be, right? So yeah, I just felt like they didn't handle him properly. I think there's potential there because I do think I like um well the I like his fighting style. I won't say it's my favorite. I think Hit has some of the best in terms
That's the
of
boy.
yeah. He was cool. Like if he was the last dude, that would have been cool. Like if he was the main antagonist, that would have been really
Yeah.
cool. Um, but how did you feel about the ending?
I thought the ending was cool. I mean, I liked it. I don't really remember the wishes, but from what I remember, like that the ending was tight. It's probably one of the better episodes in the whole series, in my opinion. You
Yeah,
had some cool visuals. You had some cool dialogue between Goku and Frieza. Um, you had yeah, I thought it was a solid episode. I didn't think it was. I don't remember the wishes. I want to say I forget what the wishes are. I know 17 had one, right? Didn't he?
yes.
He had a role
Well,
in
he
it.
won,
He
right?
won, right? So what did he wish for? He wished for everybody back,
Uh,
right?
he did. But
Which completely unravels the whole point
well,
of the tournament.
right. And well, what ends up happening is because he wishes for that Zeno. Is it
Hmm.
Zeno? I
Uh-huh.
think it's Zeno. Um, they decide to bring all the universes back
Yeah.
because what they wanted to see was people that were selfless, and so they ended up just bringing everybody back, and then 17 was able to go on a trip with his family, like on a cruise, because that was
Mhm.
the wish he wanted. He wanted to go on a cruise with his family.
Uh-huh.
Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
We just had this whole thing.
For that. Um, but so me, I like the last battle I did. I thought it was really creative. Like I never ever would have thought I'd see Goku, Frieza, and 17 on a team
Yeah,
together. Um,
that was great.
yeah, I thought it was really cool. The the one thing was that last part, the wishes. Again, we go back to everyone gets wished back. Like
Everyone, it
like
completely just
eradicates everything that you
eradicates the
had.
last 40 episodes. We just
Yeah,
watched this shit.
exactly, and that's kind of like that's Dragon Ball again, not wanting to commit to the darker side of
Yeah,
its
the
story.
decision. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. But before I know we're almost up on time, but one of the big things about the arc, obviously you had Ultra Instinct Goku, you had Vegeta's form, um, Jiren, the introduction of Jiren and the Pride Troopers. Yeah, there were a lot of different things. We talked about a good amount of them, but it was actually the song, the introduction of that song, The Ultimate Battle. Um,
Hmm.
how did you feel about that song?
I don't remember it. What is it?
Ah, okay. It's called Ultimate Battle. I'll have to play it for you. I'll send it to you. It's
Uh-huh.
basically like Goku's Ultra Instinct theme song. And
Uh-huh.
it was like a big thing. Like it turned out to be, I'm sure if I were to YouTube it, it's got millions of views. Like
Yeah.
it was one of those like everyone was talking about it type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and so, I personally liked it. I didn't think I was gonna like it, to be honest. When I first heard it, I was like, "What the hell is this?" And then
Hmm.
it actually grew on me, and ended up liking it. But I'll send it to you so you can listen to it. Or it will, you'll remember once you hear it. Like you'll be able to recall it once you hear it.
Yeah,
But maybe it
just
didn't
to
make that
preface
big
this too,
impression.
though, is just like I'm not super big into like soundtracks. Like I'm not super like
Really?
into shit like that. Like, I told you too, like I play video
Mhm.
games without the sound on. Like I'd rather just be listening to music of my own or podcasts. So like apologies if that is like blasphemous, but like it is really not like like a thing that I'm like looking out for. Like I think sometimes it sticks out, but it's not something that I'm like, oh yeah, that song's pretty cool. Like,
All right.
like it's just not, especially if it's in Japanese, like I don't understand what they're saying anyways. I'd rather just look at it in silence and just read the subtitles.
Well, um, there's two versions. There's the Japanese and English one. But anyways, forget about it because like, it's fine. You haven't listened to it. But overall, this was our first like anime or Dragon Ball Super arc review. Obviously, we're
Yeah.
gonna do more of these, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. Um, and we figured we'd finish off the episode by whether or not we recommend this as an arc to watch, because think about it, an arc, you're gonna you're gonna have to invest a lot of time into it. There are many episodes,
Yeah.
and you know we're gonna give you our perspective and whether or not we think it's worth your time to watch it. So I'll go ahead and hand it off to you, dude. You could go ahead and say whether or not you recommend it.
What's our scale? Is it like a recommend or not recommend, or
I would say, yeah, keep it like that.
okay.
Simple.
Out of this, at a super, I would say I'd recommend. I
Right.
recommend to watch it. I think it's one of the better ones, if not the best one. So I'm on the recommend side. I think it comes with an asterisk though. I think you can definitely skip a couple. I would say skip the whole beginning and just kind of start off in the like in the middle. Once the Khalifa fight kind of happens, like with Goku.
Oh, the
I think
Kefla
that-
one.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, Kefla one. My bad. Yeah, the Kefla one. Once that kind of comes into steam, like shit starts to pick up. But,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it definitely does.
the first like 15 episodes, I'd be like, yeah, I think you can do without.
Yeah.
You probably miss some, the Roshi and the Krillin stuff, but who cares?
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal.
They're still alive.
Right? They're all still alive. All these
They're all still
motherfuckers.
alive.
Nah, yeah. I would also recommend it. The arc is not without its flaws, like we've discussed. But from a writing perspective, Dragon Ball Super could have been better, and I can tell that they put effort into this arc. It's just that the scale of the arc was too huge for them to handle. There were too many characters, too many stories. I think it made it a
Yeah.
little difficult for them to try to hone in and focus. But that being said, there are a lot of cool moments, and yeah, I mean, there's good animation, there's cool transformations, there are some emotional moments, there's new characters, there's a lot there for you to enjoy. So yeah, I would recommend it as well, for sure. For sure.
If you haven't seen Super, like, I think I would recommend to start with this one.
Really?
Yeah, I would recommend to start with this one.
Ah.
For sure, because this was the one that I think has the most juice. I think the other. We'll talk about the other one.
We'll talk about the other one. So I guess my question isn't. I'll save my question for another episode. But
yeah,
yeah,
because it's really only between Future and this. I mean, this really.
Wow, you're
At
gonna
least
tell
in
me
my
the
personal opinion.
You're gonna tell me the what's the other tournament? Oh shit, I forget. The one with Champa.
The tournament of Destroyer or something like that.
Something like that.
I don't
right?
forget what it's called.
We'll get into that one when the time comes. But all right, cool. So, both of us recommend it. Like, like we said, there are some good things in the arc. There's some it is enjoyable. There is some entertainment. There are a lot of cool things. So definitely watch it. If you're into Dragon Ball Super. But with that, I think we'll wrap it up. We'll go ahead and sign off, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So yes, thank you again for taking the time to listen. We appreciate your listenership. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe. It means a lot to us. And you guys let us know, did you enjoy the Universal Survive the Tournament of Power arc? I'm not gonna say the official arc name, but the Tournament of Power arc. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you not? And if so, let us know. But yeah, you can Let us know if what your favorite moments were. If you enjoyed Jiren, if you thought that was a great character. Cheween wants to know why. But yeah, we'll go ahead and sign off. And you guys
Make
can
sure you
catch it.
follow our Instagram page before
Oh,
you. Yeah, CSB Pod.
okay. So you heard him. Follow us on Instagram. You can let us know there as well. What you guys thought about the arc. You can also follow us on Twitter. All of that's going to be down in the description below. And yeah, we'll go ahead and sign off, and we'll come back next week. All right. So until next week, stay safe.
Ninja.